Hello and welcome to my video. Today I will be covering Aethelstan, King of England. Born in 1894 in Wessex, Aethelstan was the son of King Edward the Elder. However, his father was not the king when he was born. His grandfather was Alfred the Great, who was known for deterring Viking invasions during his reign. Aethelstan assumed the throne in 924 at the age of 30 and became known as the King of the Anglo-Saxons. He was also the first Southron king to extend his influence over the north, and such he is regarded as the first king of all Englands. Next we will jump to Aethelstan's early life. As aforementioned, he was the eldest son of King Edward the Elder and his consort, Lady Egwin. Later on, questions about Egwin's nobility caused dispute in regards to succession, as some felt that the children of Edward's other wives deserved precedence. He received much attention from his grandfather, Alfred, which some saw as prepping him for the throne. His mother died when he was very young, leading to his father remarrying twice. Later, his half-brothers Edmund and Edred would serve as his heirs, as he had no true-born children himself. Despite being born in Wessex, Aethelstan received his formal education at Mercian court, as his aunt and uncle Aethelfled and Ethelred were the rulers there. During this time, he became schooled in reading and writing, and also received military training in Mercian campaigns to reconquer the Danelaw, a territory which had been established for Vikings by Alfred after a peace treaty. Before continuing with the story of Aethelstan, it is important to first consider the political context into which he was born. 9th century England was divided into four major kingdoms: Wessex, Mercia, Northumbria, and East Anglia. However, Wessex and Mercia were far and away the most powerful. In the mid-800s, Vikings had overrun all of these kingdoms other than Wessex. Aethelstan's grandfather, Alfred, however, had won a decisive victory against the Vikings at the Battle of Edington, halting their advances and solidifying the Saxon state. This battle also reestablished Saxon control of Mercia. In order to consolidate power there, Alfred placed his daughter, Aethelfled, and his son-in-law, Ethelred, to rule in his name in this state. Although Danish and Norse presence in England had been greatly tempered, many still lived in Mercia, East Anglia, and Northumbria. At least this was the case up until the reign of Aethelstan's father, Edward. Although this video is focused upon Aethelstan, I would be remiss if I did not mention at length Edward the Elder. The son of Alfred, Edward became king in 899 following the death of Alfred. He deserves much of the credit for the unification of England, as much of Aethelstan's work was done for him by the time he took the throne. After coming to power, Edward conquered the remaining Vikings in Mercia, while also adding East Anglia to his realm. After the death of his sister Ethelfled in 918, Edward took advantage to take direct control of Mercia, thus extending his realm. At the time of his death in 924, Edward controlled all of England, save the kingdom of York in southern Northumbria, ruled by the Viking king Sihtric. It is worth noting that both Wales and Scotland were independent states, ruled by their own kings. When Edward died in Mercia on July 17, 924, the path to succession was not all clear for Aethelstan. It is widely believed that Edward intended his eldest son by his second wife to succeed him as king in Mercia, but Aethelstan was in Mercia at the time when Aethelstan was in Wessex, leading to Aethelstan being endorsed by the Mercian court as the next king. Regardless, Aethelstan died just 16 days after his father, putting an end to any conjecture about who was the rightful ruler. Aethelstan was coronated on September 4, 925, at Kingston on the Thames, strategically chosen for its location on the border of both Wessex and Mercia. Despite this, he was not immediately accepted in Wessex, where the younger brother of Aethelstan, Edwin, was favored. However, Edwin's death in a shipwreck in 933 ended Winchester's opposition to Aethelstan's rule. After this Game of Thrones type situation, Aethelstan's power in southern England was all but absolute. During this time, he came to be known as the King of the Anglo-Saxons. Despite the efforts of his father to unify the land, the Viking kingdom of York still stood in Aethelstan's path. In 926, Aethelstan married his sister to King Sihtric of York, binding the two kings by oaths of peace and friendship. When Sihtric died a year later, This prompted Aethelstan to invade, seizing the opportunity to expand his power. He achieved an easy victory in York, and upon this victory, he received the submission of the Danish people. Soon after, recognizing his power, he received oaths of fealty from King Constantine II of Scotland, King Hywel Dda of Wales, and King Owain of Strathclyde, who ruled northern Northumbria. Hereby, Aethelstan became the first Saxon king to extend his overlordship into the north. Wales also proved to be a staunch ally of Aethelstan's throughout his reign. Thus, Aethelstan became the first king of all England. However, his control over the north remained delicate. He attempted to quell this issue by appointing loyal men to lordships in Northumbria. The victory over York in 927 is often marked by historians as the date when he became the first king of all England. Despite all of Aethelstan's efforts up to this point, his victory over York did not ensure stability and prosperity in the realm. While he had received an oath of fealty from Constantine just years prior, war with the Scots was soon imminent. In 934, the death of a Northumbrian ruler named Ealdred of Bamburgh led to contention between King Constantine and Aethelstan over his territory. Aethelstan set out with a large host, including many earls and petty kings from Wales. Attacking from both land and sea, Aethelstan drove deep into Constantine's territory. Realizing that his troops were outmatched and that victory was becoming hopeless, Constantine renewed his pledge of fealty to Aethelstan. Aethelstan shortly after also received renewed vows of loyalty from Owain of Strathclyde, Hywel Dda, and others. For a time, he had ensured the peace and prosperity of his kingdom. This peace did not last long, though, for late in 934, Olaf Guthrufsson became the Norse king of Dublin. He soon formed an alliance with the Scots by marrying Constantine II's daughter. After consolidating his power in Ireland, he set his sights upon the kingdom of York, formerly a Viking state. Joining with Constantine and Owain of Strathclyde, a large host marched south in 937, raiding northern England as they went. Aethelstan took his time in responding, making sure to properly muster a Saxon and Mercian army. He then marched north to meet the threat. Meeting in the Battle of Brunanburh, Aethelstan crushed the invading force, causing both Olaf and Constantine to flee back to their territories. That being said, losses were very heavy on both sides. This victory tempered dissent in the north for a while, although Olaf claimed the kingship of Northumbria once again following Aethelstan's death. Celebration did not follow this victory, however, for Aethelstan had lost two of his cousins in the battle. In Scotland, Constantine's power never fully revived, as he was crushed by the loss of his son in combat. Aethelstan died on October 27, 939, in Gloucester. He was 45 years of age, having ruled for around 15 years. Anglo-Saxon control of the north eroded after his death. He was succeeded by his half-brothers, Edmund, who reigned from 939 until 946, and Eadred, who followed him from 946 until 955. Unfortunately, much of their reigns were dedicated to restoring influence in Northumbria, where Olaf had once again taken up state. According to his wishes, Aethelstan was buried in Malmesbury Abbey, along with his two fallen cousins. Although he only ruled for 15 years, Aethelstan's legacy in England is undeniable. He is remembered as a noble and just ruler committed to unifying the island under a single king, a goal which he achieved. Though conflict over territory remained after his death, Aethelstan will forever be remembered as the first king of England. He established a degree of common identity among his subjects, while also eradicating the last major Viking threat on overall English sovereignty. As a ruler, he was a supporter of the church and devoted much of his time to architecture and improving utilities. All in all, Aethelstan deserves to be reckoned as one of the greatest monarchs that England has ever seen. Though the Saxon royal line ended roughly a century later with the invasion of William the Conqueror, Aethelstan played a key role in setting the foundations for the modern English state. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed the story of Aethelstan, king of the Anglo-Saxons and first king of all England. Here are the citations I used for this video. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.